So, when people think of Digimon, most people think of it as the less popular Pokemon clone that came out around the same time.
And that's okay to be wrong. You will be judged on your deathbeds, you monsters.
Maybe it was because I didn't have a Game Boy as a kid, so I didn't play Pokemon until I got Pokemon Emerald on the Game Boy Advance. Or it was because my best friend had a PlayStation and he had a game called Digimon World. And right from the terrible CGI opening, I was hooked. We would spend hours playing that game. We weren't the best at it, our Digimon would die a lot, or it got turned into the weird turd-eating Digimon, Numamon. But after that day, I would wake up every Saturday morning to watch Digimon Adventures. I don't know, there was something about that series that interested me and drew me into the story. Now listen, I don't mean to compare this to Pokemon, but it's gonna happen in the first part of the video. Deal with it, nerds. I think they are both cool franchises, with animes that have awesome karate dogs, Dragon Ball Z hype-worthy fight scenes, and a fan base that likes to draw these monsters in a weird, sexy images. Okay, basically they like to draw porn. But what Digimon has over Pokemon is that the story to me felt more relatable. You see, in Pokemon, it felt like a random kid's dream of going on an adventure. Like, sure, there were the occasional emotional things like Charmander could have died in the rain, and Pikachu's dilemma on what it meant to be strong. But Digimon felt like there was more emotion and growth in their characters. Whether it was Tai understanding what it means to be courageous during tough times, to TK understanding that he needs to have faith in himself if he wants people to have faith in him. These are real-world problems that kids faced, and it felt nice to have characters I could relate to. I mean, besides Shaman King, which was airing at the same time, there wasn't really any other series that took on the thought of death and how it impacts a person. I mean, even rewatching it now, some of this stuff hit me hard. I wasn't really too jazzed to go back to Adventures in O2, because I remember the weird southern accent of Armadillomon, and just the giant Elvis monkey. But in the end, if you took out the monsters and the fantasy world, Digimon is just a story about being anxious about the unknown, growing up, and if you're doing life right. Because being a preteen or a teenager sucks. It's awkward and weird, and they capture it nicely. You see, Digimon is one of the first isekai to use the virtual world as its otherworld backdrop. And the world of Digimon Adventures is fascinating, mixing modern and cyberpunk aesthetics blended with the low fantasy world. But what makes the world feel so alive is the fact that what the Digidestins did in the world affected later plot points, whether it be helping Digimon in the world remove the evil dark gears and them returning the favor, fighting in the climactic battle for the fate of the digital world, or the character growth of Ogremon and Blackrock Greymon from evil villain to the kind of compassionate character you root for. It's just the subtle writing like this that made Digimon's world feel both massive in scale, but also very personal when it came to encountering the creatures that lived there. And these interactions affected everything that would happen all the way to O2's final big boss fight, with the final episode of O2 giving a sense of finality to the series. That was until 2015, when we got news that Digimon Tri was going to be coming out for the 15th anniversary celebration of Digimon. Digimon Adventure Tri is the sequel series set 3 years after the end of Adventure 02, and it follows the Digidestined in the twilight of their youth. Whereas Adventures was telling the story of kids reaching their teens, this is a story about where you go next in life, and the confusion of growing up hits hard. It should have been a great bookend, but this series has a lot of problems. A lot of people found it mediocre and lackluster. One of the biggest problems is how it was released. Originally, we were all told it was going to be a 26 episode series, but later was announced that it would be 6 movies that would then be broken into 26 episodes. It felt janky and mismatched. With the movies releasing every 6 to 7 months, you kind of forgot what was going on and would have to rewatch the previous films to get an understanding. Luckily, they were easily accessible, but I think the weekly episodic format would have made the series flow a bit better. I get why they did it, being able to get more funding by making them into films and giving them time to animate, but even with that, sometimes the animation seems very unimpressive. Like, this series came out 15 years after Digimon Adventures, and the CGI is still awful. Like, I wouldn't complain about it much, but where the CG Digivolutions were only used for Tai and Matt's Ultimate and Mega transformations in the original, here, each Digimon Champion evolution gets it, and it comes off jarring. They're awkward and they feel out of place, because the Ultimate and Mega transformations are animated in 2D and they look excellent. Another big problem with this is the fact that the Digivolutions take forever to get through. There's a YouTube compilation of this, of just the Digimon evolving, and it takes 13 minutes. And each evolution takes about 30 to 40 seconds, and you have 8 Digimon throughout the film evolving. It takes up runtime that could have been used for story beats. Another thing is the lackluster character design of the main characters. With the Digidestined in the original adventures, their character design gave them personality, from Tai's goggles to Mimi's cowboy aesthetic. Like, the little things show off their personality. Here, besides the occasional them going out to hang out, most of the time they're in their generic high school uniforms, which makes them feel less like teens going on an adventure, but more like they're supposed to be in a weird slice of life anime. And it's disheartening because when they go back to the digital world, they're in their high school uniforms. Like, I get it. In Adventure 02, the older kids besides TK and Kari all wear their high school uniforms. But I would say that's because they're meant to be the side characters for that series, so the personality should be given more to the main cast. Speaking of the second season, another thing that makes this series lackluster is that the main characters from Adventure 02 are not present. They come up in a quick little scene where they're attacked by a mysterious Digimon and feel like they're written off until they have to bring up where they are and why they're missing. I can understand because this is more focused on the original Digidestined, but I wouldn't have much of a problem with this if they didn't decide to bring back the idea of the Digimon Emperor coming back. And he is one of the best and unique designed human characters, from his hair to the revamped version of the Digimon Emperor outfit. Like, come on! You could do this character justice with his design.
But you couldn't give Mimi a goddamn cowboy hat?
But after all this, all my criticisms and all my complaints, I genuinely adore this series. There is a certain charm to seeing my favorite characters grow up. I think the one thing that makes this series worth watching is seeing the relationships of all the Digidestins and how they've grown. If there's a relationship that shines the most, it's the relationship between Tai and Matt. Because of their different views, Matt thinks Tai has changed. When they were younger, Tai would be gung-ho for fighting Digimon for the safety of the world. But Tai has a sense of guilt seeing that the damage they're doing to the city and the possibility of harming people makes him stop from fighting. A lot of people have that as a complaint because they already fought Digimon in the real world. But I guess I can understand the hesitations because the difference is that now we also get the news talking about the damage and devastation Digimon battles are causing. One scene that gets this point across is when some of the Digidestins overhear a conversation about a recent Digimon attack and how their peers feel about Digimon. They think they're monsters and they're a threat and they need to be killed. Each character has a different reaction, from sadness to anger, and you get the outside perspective of what is going on. It gives it more of a grounded feel to the real world. The character's growth is really big in this series. Like, one person that goes through a big growth is Joe. Honestly, I've always enjoyed Joe as a character. The dorky, kind of anxious kid always spoke to me for some reason, because his personal struggle is growing up and always wondering why he has to fight. They hit home at the end of the original Digimon series that Joe is more of a pacifist. And his struggle in Tri felt real because he doesn't like fighting because he doesn't want to see his partner Gomamon hurt. But Gomamon sees it as their duty, and the anxiety of being a chosen hero crushes Joe because he doesn't know whether or not he will ever have a normal life. What this story is about these kids we watch grow up, reach adulthood with conflict in front of them, and showing their flaws and strengths and how they can grow from it. I see a lot of coming of age stories not handle this stuff very well, but I feel like this is handled pretty great. I know a lot of people didn't like the new Digidestined character Mako, but I found her quite charming. The reason I thought so is because she's supposed to just be your typical anime girl in this world of Digimon. She's supposed to be a character avatar for this strange new world. The other human side characters also feel like they fit in. That is the two agents, Daigo and Meiki. Their backstories are fleshed out as the original Digidestins, which shapes why these events are happening right now. Digimon's story has always felt more deep and mature. This still keeps that up, because the antagonists aren't really antagonists in a villainous way, but they're forces of nature trying to shape the digital world the way they think it should be. One wants to restart the digital world because they think humans have ruined it, while the other is just wanting balance. They have no true alliance. So I find that aspect to be unique because although one is played off as doing it out of malice, the point is to make you see the reason why each wants the change they're seeking. Another reason why this series hits me hard is, well, the nostalgia. I'm not gonna lie, when I heard the remix of the Digimon theme in the opening of the English dub, it just got me hyped. It honestly made me feel like a kid again watching classic Digimon. Like, even the Digivolution scenes, although they last forever, there's a certain rush you get when you watch them all transform. Which leads me to the best part of Digimon Tri, is the Digimon's designs. You see canonically all the Digidestins had a Mega Evolution, but we only got to see Agumon and Gabumons. Tri gives everyone a chance to shine, and they all get their Mega Evolutions. But the Mega Evolutions, unlike Tai and Matt, getting theirs because Angel shot them in the butt, the others feel like they had to earn their Mega Evolutions because it reflected the growth they had to reach. I like that a lot about Digimon. Plus, all their designs look really cool. One thing I love about Digimon is the immense lore. In the digital world, there's a group of Digimon called the Royal Knights, whose main goal is to protect the digital world, and we get to see 3 of them. That being Alphamon, Omnimon, and Jesmon. And they all look stellar and are drawn amazingly with care. Like, Jesmon is my favorite design for a Digimon in this series, even though I have conflicted thoughts because he's based off of, Jesus? But like, Digimon has always had weird religious undertones anyways, but his bone dragonoid human design looks pretty damn cool. And hitting the Christian representation of Jesus, he has 3 ghost figures following him. And Omnimon's merciful form is an amazing design as well, and the meaning behind the form is given context to the story, as he is like an angel with his white armor and blue glowing wings, freeing the tortured final boss Digimon from their painful prison it feels like they're trapped in. Tri isn't perfect, but I think it's a fine story. I'll always love Digimon. There's always going to be a special place in my heart, and we're in the 20th anniversary of the series, and they were going to release a new Digimon film, capping another end, I guess, to the Adventure series, but the O2 characters are there, so that's cool. But due to COVID-19, the release of the film has been pushed back. When this video comes out, the newest episode of the reboot of Digimon Adventure 2020 has come out from its COVID hiatus, and I love that series and I highly recommend you give it a watch, as it is a modern retelling of the Digimon Adventure. It is a fun nostalgia trip through a modern lens. And there is always going to be something beautiful and messy about Digimon Adventure Tri, and I love it because of that. Hey guys, it's the end of the video, but I also wanted you guys to know about this new book that came out called The Song of Morian. It's written by Mark O'Kane, and it is a fantasy about fantasy, a story about stories, and why it is that we tell them. We're all nerds here, we've all had some passionate interest in a subject or place, or field that defined our childhoods. It's the joy and terror of growing up, and of realizing that the world is far more complicated, messy, and beautiful than we ever suspected. The heroes of Song of Morian all go through pain, grief, but they never fully abandon the passion and the kindness of their childhood. It's a fun young adult fantasy, and you guys should check it out. The link is down below. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I took a week off because the last video mentally exhausted me a bit, so I wanted to take some time for myself. If you want to support me on Patreon, the link is down below. If anything, a simple like, subscribe, and share will do. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to get all the newest videos. Also, I am now the host of the Tangent Podcast, where my friends and I are goofs, and you should check us out. The link is also down below. Follow me on Twitter, link is down below. I should probably say that for the latest updates. And like always, stay awesome, keep on keeping on, and whatever you're going through, you got this, my friends. Later.